It is me, Emotional Octopus. I don't know, maybe one day I'll actually tell you guys my, first name, but for now, I think Emotional Octopus works because it really does describe how I feel so much of the time. It's just, there's so many different feelings, and you feel 8 different things at once all the time. It kind of gets exhausting sometimes, but that's beside the point. So, in the first video I made, it was kind of just it was just the tip of the iceberg of talking about myself in this light and not in the persona that you see through my Instagram typically. So I think most recently, maybe in the last year or two, was when I started to post a lot more, I want to say, spiritual content, maybe things that aren't all pure comedy. And those are things I've always felt, so I always wanted to advocate for positivity. I know that's not always going to be available to everyone. Struggle happens, and sometimes violence happens, and sometimes that is the answer in a moment where you have to protect yourself to keep on living. So I know that that isn't always going to be the default, or I know that's not always what somebody has to choose. So they can't always choose positivity. They can't always choose to therapize their situation. And I think realistically, it takes both. So, drawing from my own experience of being someone who never typically got angry. So, when I went to therapy, I remember speaking to my therapist, and she was like, I was going through a breakup at the time, and basically what she said was I just feel like you're always sad, but you've never been angry about it, even though there are moments where I feel like you want to be mad about it. And if someone knew your situation and what you were going through and they advocated for you, they would be mad for you. So it's a bit strange that you're not even a little bit angry. And there was a lot that happened after that that made me realize that I just would suppress my anger because I felt like I did not want to feel rage, and I did not want to feel like I hated feeling angry. It was exhausting because it was rage. It wasn't just anger. It wasn't quiet seething, you know. It was internal and external, and I feel like I was just afraid to let those emotions out, and so it ended up coming out in a different way, and I was just much more depressed than I was mad. So I don't know if you've experienced that, where you feel like you turn inwardly and you feel more sad than you do mad. And so I learned that there is a healthy amount of feeling when it comes to anger. It's just like almost any other feeling. It's just if it's always one type of feeling. Feelings are supposed to be things that move. They don't stay stagnant all the time. And when it's one pinpointed feeling all the time, it's you go from sad to mad to happy to disgusted, frustrated, disappointed, back to being sad, back to being depressed, back to being, sorrowful. And it doesn't always stay in one emotion. So the lesson that I learned from that was that it was normal to vacillate, within your emotions. But after going to therapy, I'm not gonna lie, I definitely felt better, but I also felt worse because it was like, now I have to think about what I was maybe not feeling or what I was suppressing in the past so that those things don't happen again. And there was a lot of work to be done, with myself, with my relationships with my friends, former relationships, family members. It's just, there were so many things I just denied myself, like denied everything because I didn't want to deal with it, or because that was just easier. So I don't want to drag this out to be too long, but basically I just want this to be a place where we can talk about, difficult emotions. And I'm happy to use myself as an example. If anything, this is also like a video diary for me. So it's kind of fun as well. But outside of the trauma, outside of, those feelings of frustration and sadness, and like just realizing which feelings I am feeling and allowing them to be felt rather than intellectualized. Sometimes that's the most difficult part for me because, you got a job to do, you have things to do, and when you're alone with yourself in your head and you have all of these different like file cabinets that are open, it's just like, man, like when am I going to get back to thinking about this? So like a lot of the time I'll be out walking and maybe something that I was feeling that I kind of suppressed a while back just comes back, like randomly, full force, like no warning. So now I'm like crying while I'm out walking one of my dogs. And it's such a strange feeling, because even when I sit back and think about it, and I imagine like being somebody else seeing me out walking, just bursting into tears. It's just like, man, what happened to her? Like what's going on? But this is becoming a bit wordy now, so I think I'm gonna stop and eat my burrito, and then probably make another video, probably one that's maybe a little bit more specific. But let me know what you think about these types of videos where I just sit down and chit chat and talk to the camera. But definitely want to do like an introduction video, because I know this version of me is just a little bit different than Instagram emotional octopus. So, and the neighbors are out here now, so if you heard them, that's who was making some chitter chatter. But yeah, I'll be back, and I hope you guys have a good day.